Episode 101 of the Thunder Underground podcast. My name's Trent. This is Jason.
Hello, hello.
Here we are on the second 100. Beginning of the second 100, if that makes sense.
Our second triple digit.
Yeah. So, the beginning of the second 100 episodes of the podcast is our first episode that has 2 interviews on it.
Yes.
So we thought we did both these at the same show.
Yeah.
So we thought, why not combine them and make one big episode out of it?
Exactly.
We've got Tony Asta from Battlecross and Greg Burgess from Allegaeon. Both of these guys, phenomenal guitarists from kick-ass bands. So we couldn't be happier about the kickoff to the second 100 episodes of this podcast.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty great way to do it. And we kind of did them almost one after the other. And they even said they thought they might, switch interviews. Remember that?
Oh, yeah, Greg mentioned that they had talked about doing it together and answering each other's questions or something.
That would have been awesome.
Yeah.
But in any case...
Unfortunately, we didn't get to do that.
Yeah. But it just, it's the Winter Warriors tour. These bands are friends, and it was just a special night. So we thought, let's just pile it into one badass episode.
Well, there you go. Before we do that... We're going to play some music.
Okay.
Because we like to bring some music when we get the chance. Hey, we're a few days away from Christmas, so we thought we'd bring you a Christmas song.
Yeah.
Why not?
Exactly. Tis the season.
Yeah. I hope everybody has a Merry Christmas or a Happy Festivus, whatever it is you celebrate.
That's right.
And this song is called Brain Suck by Hard Charger, and it's the happiest of holiday tunes.
Fuck yes.
Brain Suck from Hard Charger out of New Brunswick, Canada.
Yes. We did a something or other. We did a review, a little write-up of them. Their whole fucking album, it's called Bad Omens, and it's just badass, just raw in your face. If you like the stuff kind of like Grave Huffer that we were talked about a few episodes ago, this is right up your alley. I mean, it's just, it's a ball squasher. It really
Ball
is.
squasher, I like that.
And Brain Suck. I mean, that's one of the best song titles I've ever heard in my fucking life.
Right.
So I mean, get into these guys, check them out. They're on Bandcamp. They're all over the place. I know they're going to Europe. They've been to Europe. I know they're going to Europe.
Yeah, I think early spring or something.
Yeah, and go to our page and check out our review.
Yeah, thethroneunderground.com, independent reviews. Check out what Jason wrote up there about Bad Omens. And this whole album, one thing that's cool is it's just relentless as hell because there's no gap in between the songs, I think, for the most part. I remember listening, it's like literally like not even half a second. Sometimes you catch like, oh yeah, 10 seconds into it, you realize you're listening to a different song.
Yeah.
And that's really cool that it's relentless and pounding and it's just dirty, nasty. They call it crust and roll.
Crust and roll. That's
which is
right.
a great description.
It really is because, it's heavy and like it says crusty and kind of nasty, but then it also has a lot of, classic elements of just, that boogie rock and roll that we all love.
Yeah. Lemmy would be proud.
Oh, yeah. Hands down. He'd definitely be proud.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and all the songs are just short and to the point, and
that was what 2.5 minutes, and then there's some that are like a minute long. Right?
Yeah, and but they fit it all in, and it feels like it's just go listen to it. It's great.
Yeah, Hard Charger out of Canada. Check them out. All right, well, back to the theme of this episode. Like Jason mentioned earlier, the Winter Warriors Tour. That's a tour that Battlecross has been doing now every winter.
Yeah.
And they round out the year by doing some shows, and they bring along they headline the run and always bring along some great bands with them. And this year, of course, was no exception.
Yeah.
For me, I went in there, we've seen Battlecross several times. We love them. We knew what we were getting. Allegaeon, it's the first time I've seen them live, but I knew it was going to be great because they're a great band.
Yes.
But the first thing I want to point out is I didn't know anything about Necromancing the Stone.
Oh, fuck. Yeah.
And now I feel like my heart is filled with joy because I do know this band.
You're goddamn right. I mean, that band was just like, that's what, guys like me and you live for.
Yeah.
I mean, we knew it was going to be good when they were warming up and the guy was doing like rat songs and shit, and it's just a good, gallopy new wave of British heavy metal, kind of power metal vibe. Maybe a little bit of 3 Inches of Blood,
Yeah.
just a tinge.
with like keyboards making it sound almost
yes
80s synthy at times,
Yeah.
It's kind of...
I mean, it was so great. It's just what heavy metal should be, and it was so fun to watch those guys play. We should look them up, get them on the podcast somehow. I don't know. I mean, they were great, and they're made up of members of Arsis, Black Dahlia Murder.
Yeah.
A couple other bands. The name escapes me. My apologies. But Necromancing the Stone. Look these guys up, and you will send us thank you cards and Christmas presents.
Right.
You'll be so grateful that we turned you on to this band because they are stellar.
And you're already sad that you have a band and you didn't think of that name first.
That's right, because that is a badass name.
Yeah. Yeah, I really hope to hear more from these guys and get a chance to see them again down the line. Well, first thing we got into when we got to the show was we talked to Greg first.
Yeah.
And then, so let's talk about that. When we saw them live at this show, earlier that day, Riley, the singer, had to go to the ER.
Yeah.
Or the minor emergency or something, because I guess Greg talks about it in there. I think he said he was bleeding from the throat or something crazy.
And then on stage, he said he had pneumonia.
That's right. And you could tell, this is what I want to point out, is you could tell by watching him, the guy looked like he didn't feel good. He was standing up there, just had that look on his face like you do when you feel like shit.
Yeah.
But with that being said, if you close your eyes, he sounded as good as anybody does when they're on stage, and that's called being professional, right?
Yeah,
but it's also called knowing what the fuck you're doing, because he was up there sounding amazing, while he obviously didn't feel amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fucking warrior, is what it is.
It's a winter warrior.
That's right. It's a fucking road dog, and it's a fucking pro, and it just felt, privileged that he was braved it and pressed on, and we got to see the set because it was awesome.
Yeah, these guys are just, I kind of a late comer to this band. I honestly didn't know a lot about them until I heard that Subdivisions cover.
Yeah.
Which blew me away. And then I checked them out. And of course, their other stuff isn't like that for the most part because, it's more heavy vocals. But I loved it all because I've been a fan of soul work for, 15 years now. But it was really soul work and like Scar Symmetry that kind of pushed me into loving a lot of melodic death metal style stuff.
Yeah.
And so as soon as I heard this band, I instantly latched on. I listened to all their albums, love it all. So it was a joy to be able to see them. It was a short set, obviously, because they're opening up the show. But, hope to get to see these guys again because, Riley's a great addition to this band. That new album is great from start to finish, and his clean vocals are phenomenal. So it's just really something to... I hope more people latch onto and his band continues to rise up.
Yeah, and I can't not mention the fact that these guys were the 6-string basses and the 8-string guitars, and they were just all over the fretboard. 8-fingered tapping. I mean, it was nuts. I mean, I couldn't even fathom what these guys were doing. It was just it was such a joy to watch them, and if these guys come anywhere near you, you got to go.
So what you're saying is Greg Burgess is a good guitarist?
Yeah, I think so. And let me also mention, we talk about this in the interview. He's got a video up on his Facebook, I think Allegion's Facebook, of him just doing an acoustic thing. And, and it's inspired by Michael Hedges, and we'll get into that. And
I think that was on YouTube.
Okay,
it was like an older video on YouTube.
Apologies. But, I mean, it's insane, the ability of this guy. And, wow. I mean, yeah, just look it up. It'll floor you.
Well, let's just do this. Let's get into this interview right now with Greg Burgess from Allegaeon.
I feel like this lip ferret needs to go. Every day I wake up and I'm like, what the hell is going on with my face?
And you gotta wait till the tour's over.
Yeah, I do. Because then I'm a quitter if I just cut it out.
So it's a whole band thing or tour thing? Or
yeah, it's a tour package thing, and only some of us agreed to do it. So only
I'm sure Gumby wasn't going to just go
No,
mustache.
Gumby,
Right.
yeah, he was threatening to. He's like, I'll kick you off the tour. I'm like, you ain't doing nothing.
Nice.
In fact, I want to arrest you now.
Yeah.
Expect it.
Well, so how's the tour going so far?
Oh, it's great. Having a lot of fun. And, touring with your buddies is always good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you guys played with toured with Battlecross 4? Or?
No, we've just known them for a long time. It's really funny because we just go to each other's shows and hang out. And yeah, if we were on tour, sometimes we'd be in the same city, and after each other's gigs, we'd just meet up.
Yeah. So, right on. Yeah. Well, we saw your post about the Dimebag in the Fort Worth show. How was all that?
The Dimebag?
Yeah, the Dimebag.
Or was
show.
it like a Dimebag tribute show or something?
Oh, yeah. Well,
Or
Fort
were they
Worth,
just calling it that because it was that day?
I think they were just calling it because it was that day, because literally our show got canceled, so we just kind of ended up on that one.
Nice.
And I mean, Fort Worth is just... I honestly think the whole Dallas-Fort Worth area, everybody thinks that if you go to Fort Worth, you're going to get herpes or something. So no one goes ever. And it's so fucking weird because if you play a show 45 minutes east in Dallas, your show's amazing.
Yeah.
You play in Fort Worth, you're just fucked. No one will come ever. We'll play to 3 people some nights. It wasn't a great show. It wasn't a great show because it was in Fort Worth. And I asked people, they're like, yeah, fuck Fort Worth. I'm like, why? No one gives me a reason. They're just like, I fucking hate Fort Worth. We won't go to shows there. I'm like, you guys are spoiled. Spoiled.
We're from Tulsa. We go to Dallas shows a lot, but yeah, honestly, I've never been to a show in Fort Worth.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why. It just I don't have a reason.
Okay. Maybe it's just a Bermuda Triangle of music in Texas.
Well, talking about the new album, it's been out a couple months now.
Yeah.
Like, what's the response been like from fans? And
Oh, it's been really good. Really good. It's always scary when you get a lineup change, as big as a singer anyway.
yeah,
But, he's been killing it. That's not a very long answer. I'm like, what else can I say? It's just been really good. He's been really good. He's got bronchitis today. Really, so weird thing, whenever we go out with Riley and the tour's like long, like 3 weeks in or whatever, he starts getting a cold and you're like, God damn it, why are you always patient zero? And then it just spreads. But he's been sick for like a couple days now and everybody's like fine, and we're like, uh-oh. And he comes in, he's like, I need to go, doctor, I'm coughing blood. And I'm like, again? God damn it. So we're at urgent care. I'm like, go urgently.
Yeah.
And he always sounds great. It never affects how he sounds because it's different part of his throat.
Yeah.
But he's just always sick. And he's just always miserable. He's like, I hate tour. I'm like, but you're so good at it. I mean, except when you get sick, then you're not good.
Yeah.
You're not good at the tour part.
yeah. You would think with that kind of voice, it'd be hard to do that sick. But,
Yeah, no, I mean, he always sounds great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I was going to ask you about the gray matter mechanics and kind of the Spanish thing going on. That was really cool. Did that just kind of pop up, or did you mean to do that, or?
It's actually kind of weird because we went on tour with Ex Mortis and Arsis, and those are both some like kick-ass guitar bands,
Yeah.
you know. And we were having like internal problems. That's the best way to say it. And basically spontaneously combusted every night. It was bad. The guys say, "Oh, you were fine," and I'm like, "No, we weren't. Like, we didn't sound very good." And I felt like we got our asses handed to us every night. So when we got home from that tour, I was like, I'm not touching an electric. Like, I was like, am I done? Am I going to quit? What am I going to do? And so it was playing flamenco and like classical. Yeah. And then I just started writing, and that's what came out. Cool. So, and the guys were like, oh, that's cool. We'll use it. I'm like, yeah, it's kind of different, but okay.
Yeah, it worked. It worked. I like the Michael Hedges video. That was just...
Oh, in the bathroom?
Yeah, and he's from Oklahoma, so that was awesome. I mean, that was great.
Yeah, no one's ever talked to me about Michael Hedges. You are first.
Well, and I'll admit I don't know too much, but I know just a little, and that was awesome. That was pretty cool.
Oh, thanks,
man. That guy was pretty unique.
Innovator.
Yeah,
like, started
definitely.
that. I mean, nowadays, if you look back on it, I don't think it'd be that special, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But, like, at the time, like, he really was the guy.
Yeah, it was crazy, yeah.
He started everything, and now you got, like, Andy McKee, and you got Candy Rat Records. Like, everybody on there's a monster, but it all was, like, Michael Hedges seemed to be the guy that started that whole style.
Definitely.
So when you started playing, did you go towards the acoustic or the classical stuff, or was it metal first and then that?
Well, it was metal first, but I could never find a drummer. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like, you can never find a drummer, so you're like, with the classical stuff, I didn't need anybody else. So I was just like, I'll just do this, and then that's just, my degree was in that, and then, I always wanted to play metal. That was my thing, But there's a guitar player from Arsis thing. He's amazing. Yeah, but it's I don't know. It's like, it's part of who I am, I guess, because I've been doing it so long. So, and it'll just be interesting to see how it's going to matriculate more into Allegiant as time goes on. Because I have a feeling it's going to start coming out more and more as I get further along into the process. Now that Corey's quitting, and it's getting to the point where I can pretty much do whatever I want, which is nice.
Calling the shots.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, everybody. It's truly a democracy, but it gets treated like I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
A lot of times.
Does it feel? I mean, obviously, Corey's still here, but
does
it feel weird knowing that you're about to be the only guy left from when you guys started this, or?
I mean, in a way. I'm trying not to think about Corey leaving until he's actually going, and just trying to make this a great tour for him, so he sends off on a good experience, But I mean, I hate lineup changes, and I've had one constantly, so it's always a little. It's hard when you like someone quits. It's a relief when you have to fire someone. So the fact that he is going, it's going to be harder because you're going to have to find someone new when you don't really want to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So, but it's a challenge, and it'll be lineup changes is always an opportunity to improve where you are. So,
Do you have anybody in mind, or have you auditioned anybody?
yeah, I mean, there's 2 guys in mind. We did the online kind of audition process, and then we did the Patreon, and then all hell broke loose. So with that kind of like, let's put the bass player on the back burner and let this die, and then when it dies, then we do it. And like, it's time to start looking again.
Yeah.
But it was funny because we're like, hey, please, video yourself playing these 3 songs and then fill out this application. And people are doing one or the other. They're not doing both. And it's like, oh, come on, guys. Like, if you can shred through the stuff and then, you are completely will not fit in personality-wise. That's why we want, Like, if you're like, go fuck yourself in the application, I will laugh a lot. I'll be like, this guy, he could fit in, Like, yeah, I mean, Sean Martinez from Decrepit is interested, and he is like, can you do backup vocals? He goes, meh. I was like, yes. There you go. Yeah. I like the honesty,
Yeah.
We're not serious people. We need someone that's like fit in that,
Yeah, definitely.
Well, the Subdivisions cover, like, when you were preparing for that, was that something you guys had to meticulously, like, go over before you went to the studio, or is it something...
No. We never meet before we go into the studio.
Really?
No. I do my songs, and Mike does his songs, and then we just give it out to everybody. Go, okay, see you there. And then, I'll write lyrics and like, hey, Riley, what do you think of these? He's like, I like it. Can we change this? Of course. It's your gig. And then he'll come in with lyrics, and it's getting, the more we do it, the more organized we are by the time we hit the studio. So usually all the solos are finalized, all the lyrics, everything's finalized and demoed out before we even go in, including bass sometimes on this last one. So Dave Otero loves it because all the pre-pros there, we just like, the first day, here's all the tracks, and then we can just go through and like, what did the program drums do here? And like, oh yeah, we need the snare to be like that. Brandon, can you do that? And he's like, he just does it, So, as far as Subdivisions, we did Subdivisions and Animate, and they were just supposed to be bonus tracks. And then they just, Subdivisions, Metal Blade loved that so much that is like, let's just put it on the record. And we're like, okay, whatever. That's weird, but yeah, sure. And it was like, we were on tour. We couldn't figure out which songs we wanted to do, and we were on tour, and we just came up with like, guys, let's just do Rush. And then we were in Granbury, Texas for Thanksgiving last year, and I was just in the hotel room, and I just shit it out on a computer, listen what Neil and those guys did, and I just like looked at the chord structure of what they were doing, and I was like, okay, just tech it out a little bit, but keep it pretty much the same.
Yeah, that was a good line of keeping it you, but not going too far from the original.
Yeah, well, I mean, part of that was they were just supposed to be bonus tracks.
Yeah,
so it was like, how can we do this that's going to be minimum effort? So keep it like pretty much dead on, except for in a few places where obviously we that's not anything Allegaeon would ever play.
Mm-hmm.
We have to be true to ourselves with it being true to what Rush is, and you don't want to fuck with Rush either.
No,
yeah. It's like, people are going to love this, or we're going to get crucified.
There you go.
Yeah.
When you're writing, I don't know if you do it when you're doing lyrics or when you go into the studio, like, how do you decide what songs need clean vocals and what don't? Because there's only a few that have the clean stuff.
That's Riley. That's Riley and what he's comfortable with. Because I mean, how he got the gig was his last band, Son of Aurelius. A huge fan, and he joined that band after their first record. They put out their second record right when we put out Elements of the Infinite, and they got crucified. Like, people revolted because of all the clean vocals. So he was really hesitant to do it, but I love his voice, so I was like, dude, you gotta do it. So I was picking at him. He's like, I don't want to do it, because he didn't want to like drag us down. But I mean, it's really good. So when it came like, dude, just do all Rush, just do it exactly like it is on the record. He's like, all right, whatever. Since it's a bonus track, people don't like it. It's a bonus track. What do you want? So. And then, like the Extermination, when we got Speed from Soilwork, it was just like, well, that's not me. We can get away with that because if no one hates it, it's like, oh, well, that's just him. It was kind of like a cop-out in a way. But, treading carefully, seeing how it went over way better than we expected. So it'll start sneaking in its way in a little bit from now on. But I don't think it will ever go totally that direction, but you know.
Yeah, I think whenever I was listening, I was like, I guess there's not going to be any on here, and it was like, because it was pretty far into the album, right? Like 9 songs or something.
Yeah, you gotta put it like in the back.
That's how you ease everybody into it.
It was like, oh, what is this? I don't wait, and it was so quick. Is that really what I heard?
Yeah. Nice.
But yeah, his voice is so phenomenal. It seems like a waste to not do it.
Yeah, exactly. It's totally complete talent. We bonded over like the Mongolian throat singing, like on A Hill of Science, how it opens. Like we were nerding out over that. And he's like, "Yeah, I can do that." And I was like, "What?" Oh well, I guess that's going on the record. And then just the like the pitch screaming stuff, like the Devin Townsend kind of like singing, but it's like hard, really screaming type stuff, kind of like the cattle decap stuff, and he can do all of that. So it's like, well, let me get out my little toolbox here. What are we gonna paint with today?
Yeah, you got all that stuff to use. Yeah, definitely.
You are a real man, sir. It is not warm, and you are in shorts.
It's like this all year round. I don't know. I'm just weird.
It's called being a man.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
You know, my chin is so cold right now. Your listeners can't see my stupid facial hair, but what they made me do. But yeah, that's the first thing I noticed when I did this. I was like, you look ridiculous and your face is cold.
Cold, yeah. Grow that back as soon as you can.
Yeah, as soon as I can. I'm going to, I think as soon as this is over, I don't think I can wait for the rest of it to grow. I think this is just going to go, and then it'll even out, and then just go back. Come back with like more vigor.
Yeah, and you won't get weird looks in public anymore, you know?
Right. Oh, man, because now you either look like there needs to be like some like I'm walking down the street with like, you know, some 70s porn site or
Kane.
or I look like a really a crooked cop or a pedophile. There's no winning. There's no winning. It's funny because we were stopped in Walmart to grab Riley's prescription, and I was like, there are a lot of mustaches in this Walmart, and Corey and I were arguing, I'm like, man, it's like Dad Mart.
Yeah.
It's gonna be all dads in here.
Yep. Welcome to Oklahoma.
Dude, the best thing in that Walmart, dude, I saw a guy with like an Elvis haircut, but he had a mullet. And I was like, dude, that is amazing. I've never seen that before, ever. Props. I just want to film you.
Yep. That's awesome.
No, the Elvis mullet. But I was like, that's a golden opportunity. What? Never stop being you guy.
Should have covertly snapped a picture real quick.
Yeah, I think I was just so in shock that actually just existed that I was like, oh my god, it's amazing.
Awesome.
I wonder what he'd be like. Hey man, can I take my picture with you? I wonder what he would have done. He was an employee.
It's probably happened before.
Yeah.
I'd have to with that haircut. I'd have to.
Well, I think you guys are definitely a contender for top list on album of the year. Like, what do you think as far as what you've heard? Favorite albums of 2016?
I mean, it's been such a rough year, just like personally, you know, and I mean, I don't even know. Like, and to be honest, I haven't really been able to listen to a lot of music. Like, my personal life's just been a mess. Everything with the Patreon was a mess. It's just like, it's been like the best thing that happened this year was us putting out that record, and then everything else has just not been very good. So I mean, when we're together, it's like it's a van full of laughing, you know. But I really don't know like about the album of the year stuff, and I don't know how much that actually matters too.
But always good to hear other opinions.
It's really nice, you know, when we get it. It's like, oh, that's awesome. You know?
After playing and recording and all that, you probably don't want to listen to anything when you're not, you know, doing it, you know. It's so weird because my brain doesn't work like that. Like, I'm always listening to music, and it's not always metal. Like, I've been listening to a lot of orchestra stuff lately, and I drive the guys nuts with it. Yeah. Because it was so weird. So I've been listening to lots of, like, Yanni live at the Acropolis, which is, like, stupid, like, out of left field, like, you know, Greek, like, orchestra dude. And then yesterday in Soundcheck, I'm just playing, and then suddenly I'm like, oh, my God, I'm playing Yanni. What the hell? Like, it just worked its way into my brain and materialized to my fingers. And I'm like, that's strange as hell. But, it's weird, you know, I don't know if I answered your question. I need breadcrumbs to figure out where I am. That's all good.
Well, no, you mentioned that was one of my questions I forgot to ask about on the album. The beginning with the orchestration, so I guess that's you Or, I mean, your ideas, or how do you come up with that?
Well, proponent for Sentience 2, the algorithm, the orchestra part in the beginning, I wrote back in 2008 or 2007. And it was our live intro music back then, but we, it was kind of like I had like my first ex-wife, her family sitting around a mic, like singing, and I would just track it, do it again, so it sounded like a full choir, and and just like putting 2 mics on our like drummer's shit to like play, and really bad guitars, and that was it, like for years. That's all we could do. But now that we have Brandon who has the technology to do samples and everything like that, and it's kind of really opened the door with like what we can do, like the possibilities musically that we can do. And my writing partner Joe Ferris, he's responsible for a lot of that stuff. Like I'll give him broad stretches, like sketches of orchestra parts, and I send it to him, and then he goes through and fleshes it all out for me. Yeah, we do lots of like video game music together and stuff. Like he's awesome.
Cool, man. We'll let you get out of here since it's freezing.
I'm wearing 8 layers. Yeah. I feel bad for you. Like
my ears are freezing. I don't know about you.
I'm good.
Your shins aren't?
Yeah, I've got enough. I got enough padding.
Oh. Are you guys doing with Tony later too?
Yeah.
We were joking. He's like, "Who's your?" I'm like, "I don't know. Who's yours?" He's like, "I don't know." Like, we should do it together, and like do it like answer my questions and I'll answer yours, and we'll have no idea what each one of us is talking about. It'd be fantastic.
That'd be awesome.
If you guys want to do that later, that might be funny.
Yeah. Well, thanks, man. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Well, there you go, Greg from Allegaeon. Thank you to him for taking the time to do that. Thank you to Liz from Earsplit PR for setting that up. It was cool to hear him talk about the different styles of playing, the acoustic, and of course the heavy stuff, talking about the, Corey leaving the band and, his feelings on that, and him being the only guy left, from the original lineup.
Yeah.
But, Riley's come in, these other guys have come in, and they've really made this is a stellar band, and they're going to continue to go places, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
So yeah, check out some Allegaeon if you get the chance to see them live. Get on there, check out their music. Phenomenal band, phenomenal players. Thanks again to Greg for doing that. And after Allegaeon, of course, we got Battlecross.
Yes.
And Battlecross is a band both of us have been fans of since they first came out.
Oh, definitely.
On the mainstream, at least. And they are now, there's only been 2 bands in our first 101 episodes that have been on here 3 times. Scattered Hamlet and now Battlecross. We've had Gumby on here 2 times. He was on here on episode 17 and episode 60. And now here we are at 101 with Tony. And I'm sure those 2 guys or one of the other guys from the band will be on here again sometime soon down the line.
We got to get them.
Yeah. Well, on our last episode, episode 100, we kind of looked back at the first 100 episodes and talked about the stuff that, some memorable interviews or moments and experiences and that kind of stuff that got us to that point. And one of the things you brought up was when we were talking about Battlecross is how much this band, is kind of becoming a part of what we're doing, whether they know it or not.
Exactly.
And, we mentioned that Gumby was on episode 17, and before we interviewed him, all our interviews were with people regional. We had done one online and stuff, but he was the first guy from a touring band that came through that we went out and sat down and did the interview before the show. So it was that kind of opened a door for us.
Exactly.
And
that one's on YouTube, by the way.
Yeah. Episode 17 on YouTube and SoundCloud. It's a good one. We find out that he's a massive fan of Hank Williams.
Yeah. And you can't go wrong on that one.
Right. And then we had him back on 60. Extremely accommodating. He remembered talking to us before, and then we got out there this time to talk to Tony. And this is the first time, we had met Tony before, but it's the first time we really talked in depth to him. But after the fact, Gumby came up to us, said hey, and talked to us for a minute. So it's kind of cool,
Yeah.
To see that, they're cool with us. And that's not just because we're talking to them. They're cool with everybody. That's a big thing about this band is
Exactly.
how great they are with their fans.
Yeah, and that's kind of I'm glad you hit on that a little bit. You know, these guys are just trying to make it. These guys are trying to just get their music out. And sometimes the conditions are not, they're not optimal. And, sometimes being on the road, especially in the winter, that's tough. And so, and the club is small, and, there's no division between, the band and the fans and the stage and whatnot. And, we got in there to do what we needed to do. And, you didn't really want to bother anybody, right?
Right.
So for Gumby to come up to us, that was pretty cool. That was pretty special. Told us, it just, and then the other thing is, what Tony says in this interview, and I think what Greg kind of said is they were all friends before this. So this tour was really fun, and you could tell because they were all their merch tables were together. They were all laughing, having fun. They were rocking out through each other's sets. It didn't matter. Taking pictures.
Giving shout outs to each other. And that really bled over into, to the fans and to, the whole vibe of the night. And I thought it was a really cool way to conduct a tour. And you felt like you were in the club when you were in the club, so to speak, when you were in the club. You felt like you were part of the whole thing. So, but that was just a real successful way to do it. And, Battlecross has always, been accommodating and always been cool. And, this experience was no different. It was great. Yeah. And playing into what you were saying, Don Slater had posted on Facebook, I think it was a few shows before we saw him, that I can't believe I get to see Necromancing the Stone every night. And so, that's just how passionate these guys are about music, just like we are, any other fans are. And like you said, Greg was up there, I think with a GoPro or a camera or something, and the singer from Necromancing the Stone was out there moshing, even ran into you a couple
he
times.
Ran into me, and then he gave me a hug and told me he was sorry. I mean, it was great. It was great.
Right. And another thing I wanted to point out when we're talking about fans, we've talked about this on a previous episode, was there's a Facebook group that we're both part of.
Yes. Called
Battlecross Fans Unite. And, there's Facebook groups for the majority of bands that are around. You could type it in and, find a group. But and I've joined some of them, and a lot of times, you're just in there with a bunch of people that are like massive fans and just like won't talk about anything else. And it's just kind of like a place to be a geek and whatever. But the cool thing about this group is that it's you really get a vibe of, hey, these are friends, Mm-hmm. And even though we haven't personally met any of these people, you see at every show, a lot of the shows that, people be out there meeting up, taking pictures together, hanging out. Manny and Dion that started this thing, are big presence in there. And I know that the final show of the Winter Warriors tour, there was, I don't know how many people, but I saw the picture on there.
Yeah.
When there was like 60 people or something, probably tons of people came from, all over the area to get to that show in Michigan. And even like Manny lives in Connecticut and he flew in for it. And people came from all over the place. And all the guys in Battlecross were in this picture too. And they're all in this group. And that's another way you can communicate with them. They'll respond to stuff in there and, comment and everything. They do the same on their page. So it's really cool. How much of a fan-friendly band Battlecross is.
That's right. And think about it, it's a testament to just, one, how fan-friendly they are, and two, just how fucking good they are.
Yeah.
Musician-wise and live and just everything, because how many other bands on that level have, dedicated Facebook pages? It's usually like, Metallica Forever or Avenged Sevenfold for Life,
Right.
And so, that shows you the where this band's at and, where they're going to go.
Yeah,
it really does.
We've talked about that many times too throughout this first 100 episodes, that Battlecross is one of those bands that, I think they've had a good progression, a steady climb.
Yes.
But they should be at a bigger level, and I think they will get there. Get to that level of these bands like Lamb of God or something.
Yeah.
Where they're just a presence in the metal world.
That's exactly where I see them going,
Yeah. And you mentioned how good they are, and that's another thing that I was thinking about when we were watching them live at this show, was that I tell people all the time, if you get a chance to see Battlecross, see them. They're a great live band. But it's just one of those things that you just forget even how good they are.
Yeah.
Because we know they're great. We know that they put on a great show, sound badass. But then you get there and you just forget instantly as soon as they kick into it. Gumby screaming. They're all headbanging, moving around, going nuts, and it's just intensity at its greatest. Great heavy metal, and you just forget this is where I'm supposed to be right now, and there you are.
That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Have we rambled enough? Should we get in this interview with Tony?
Yeah, Tony Asta is the man. Let's get into this.
Answer calls.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's right. Cool, man. Well, thanks, Nate, for the interview.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
Thanks for doing it. We appreciate it.
I feel weird being in the darkness.
Yeah.
Maybe we
go
could.
over there?
Yeah, you want to go over there?
Yeah.
So I can see your faces. Nice. No, I feel like I'm looking into darkness. Hear about the Love's Cup?
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
And the mop bucket or
It's
Still
the
that is.
atmosphere.
Yeah, there you go. Cool.
Yeah.
Rock and roll.
So first thing I saw, you guys had band problems again. It's like the
Yeah.
never-ending curse of
Yeah, totally.
Battlecross.
Yeah, well, with most bands that tour a lot, it's commuting is always a huge, expense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It costs money for gas. It costs money to maintain your vehicle. It costs money to rent vehicles. It costs money to have a trailer. It costs money to have a van or whatever, a bus. So what we try to do is just try to be, self-contained. So when we had the first van, that thing broke down in like Texas 2011. And I just paid this thing off, man. I paid for it myself for like 5 or 6 years. And this thing, the training went out. We were like, what are we going to do, right?
Yeah.
We're on this tour. It's our first like legit tour ever. We're not just going to bail. So we financed a new van and we ended up getting the Savannah. And we've had it all the way until this tour. That one from then until now. And it took a big shit. Training went out. It's actually the second transmission on that van. And the catalytic converter's clogged. So it's just like this hog, dude. It's a piece of shit. But it doesn't look too bad. It's got 260,000 miles on it. So we're going to try to make the best of it. See if we can turn around, maybe sell it or, whatever.
Yeah.
But so right now we have a rental. And we're just so used to dealing with this, having something go wrong, whether it be the trailer or the van or anything like that. Just make a few phone calls, make it happen, make it to the next show. That's what you always got to do. So.
Yeah, trying to get too discouraged.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Just never get discouraged,
Yeah.
man. If you can make it happen, if you have the means of getting there, then just do your best to get there. You have to have that attitude. So
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, I think the first time we interviewed Gumby, you guys had a flat tire that day. It was part of the Gore tour. So it's just like,
It's funny because having a flat tire it seems like it's more rare than something actually breaking down on these damn things.
Yeah.
Whether it be the axle on the trailer, the bearings going out, or
That's
the
nuts.
starter, fuel pump, whatever. So it's crazy, man. You'd think that the tire would be common, but it's really not. As long as you take care of it. So
yeah.
crazy, crazy shit, man.
Well, outside of that, how's the Winter Warriors tour been so far?
Awesome, dude. It's been a lot of fun. My favorite part definitely is the other bands we're with.
Yeah.
Necromancing the Stone are a great bunch of guys, along with Legion. And we kind of sort of knew some of the guys from before, from other stuff, but this is the first time I've actually done a tour with them. So it's awesome to get to know all those guys a lot better, and we're all so helpful with each other, and it's just a really nice family. Everybody's really cool. And turnouts have been pretty good. It's not like we're not really selling out or anything like that, but everybody's having a good time. Everybody that's there is having a blast. So it's good shit. We're happy, for sure.
Yeah, we just talked to Greg a little while ago, and he said kind of the same thing. He'd known you guys forever, partied and stuff, but never
Actually
played
did a tour.
shows.
Yeah. So it's cool, man. It's crazy because now there's only less than a week left, or about a week left. So it's almost over. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's been fun, man. Winter Warriors.
Yeah.
Are you guys making your way back up from here?
Yeah. Let's see. I can't remember what's tomorrow, to be honest with you. But yeah, it's going to end in Michigan, our hometown.
Yeah.
So
That's
it'd be a
right.
big blowout.
Yeah, we're in that the Battlecross Fans Unite group.
Oh, you are? Awesome. Yeah.
And I saw a bunch of people like Manny and everybody's going into that show, and your final show on the tour.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. It's the last show of the year,
Yeah.
and it's at our hometown, at our hometown venue, the Token Lounge. Token Lounge is one of them. That's close. That's by Detroit, and then the Machine Shop, which is one in Flint. That's like our other hometown venue. Those two are like our main stomping grounds. Where if we play either of those places, it's always just amazing and a good time. So
Yeah, everyone talks about the Machine Shop.
yeah, it's kind of like world famous almost. But,
definitely.
yeah, but the Token Lounge, that's where we'll be on the 17th.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Cool.
Well, how were the shows without Gumby, and are you glad to have him back?
Yeah, definitely, absolutely. I definitely missed him. On that particular tour you're referring to, that was with Soilwork.
Yeah.
Gumby had to sit out for personal things. And we had fill-in who was Adam Cody from the band Wretched. Okay. Super awesome guy, really good singer, great frontman. So he was definitely our first choice, and actually Gumby suggested him. And we had known him from previous tours as well, from touring with Wretched. So it just all came together and it worked out fine. And when Gumby came back on for like the last week, it was just smooth transition.
Yeah.
And actually, at that particular show, that was at the Machine Shop that he came back for. And Adam and Gumby did a song together on stage.
Yeah, I saw that. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, it was badass. It was probably like Push Pull Destroy or something.
Yeah.
And very memorable time. So for sure.
Did Adam have like a long time to learn everything, or did he just pick it up pretty quick?
He had quite a bit of time to figure it out, because once we kind of got wind of what was up with Gumby's situation, we had time to plan it out.
Gotcha.
And there was a couple of people that we reached out to, but Adam was kind of like the first guy we thought of, and ended up being that he was the one that we ended up going with.
Okay.
So he sent us tracks, like basically we sent him the songs, and then he would sing over them and send them back. And then we got to hear like how he would do it, and we're just like, dude, that's awesome. Let's go. Like, he was ready. You know what I mean? And he's just super easy to work with. So just if he was like a pain in the ass, which is not, but if he was, then it would have been a totally different story. But he's a really, really nice guy and very easygoing about everything. So, absolutely.
Well, I know you guys had that badass Soilwork tour, and I saw you guys are doing the Super Joint now. So
Fuck
it's cool to
dude.
see you guys getting these shows with these big bands finally, or
Dude, it's
legendary
awesome.
people like Phil.
Yeah,
so what's
dude.
that? I mean, I assume you're looking forward to that.
Oh, dude, big time. I mean, I'm a huge Pantera fan. I love Down. Superjoint's great. Anything that came from Pantera, from those guys that turned into something else is great shit. So I like to follow that.
Yeah.
But definitely excited for Superjoint. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be cool to hang out with those guys and just hopefully be exposed to that audience as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I mean, the people who are into that, they're diehard people. So that go to those shows, and it'd just be cool to be a part of that too.
Yeah.
And hopefully we can capture those fans.
Yeah.
You know
Draw
what I mean?
some
So we'll
people
see.
in.
Yeah. But I mean, I have a feeling we'll have a little bit of our own draw too. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
People who maybe don't know a lot about Superjoint that know us, they're definitely gonna come to the show, and it'll be a good time. So, also another band on that thing's Child Bite. Those guys are actually from Michigan as well.
Okay.
They're a great band, great bunch of guys. Jake played with them before as well. Cool, for sure.
Well, speaking of Pantera, I saw that the show you guys did the other day in Fort Worth was billed as that Dimebag Appreciation Day or something like that. Like, did you guys play fucking Hostile?
Oh yeah,
Oh, you did
yeah,
that?
we had to. Yeah, you can't.
You have to.
You have to. You can't play like a dime show and not play a Pantera song.
Right.
Yeah.
And since we already had it ready to rock, we just busted it out. So we save it for rare times now. There was a couple tours we kind of played it like every night as an encore.
Yeah.
But now we're just saving it for special occasions.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well,
It is a very fun song to play.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. No, so you guys got new stuff coming in 2017, or is it coming together?
Honestly, I can't say at this point. We just have ideas, rough
Okay.
ideas, like little demo stuff. We haven't actually come together and jammed and actually like worked on anything as a band yet. One big thing that's different this time is with every album we have a different drummer for some reason.
Right.
And now we have Brian Zink, who's a badass. He's been with the band for over a year now, and I hope to keep him around. And so it's going to be exciting to write with him and do something new and fresh in that way, have a different take on it that way with a different drummer. So, but as far as when to expect new stuff, I can't say because, I mean, it's such early stages right now that I can't really tell you. I wish I knew. Sometimes it's better off not knowing.
Yeah. Well, hey, at least you've got the same drummer for a while now.
Yeah, I really want to keep Brian around. His personality fits in so well, and he's a phenomenal drummer. And I just love the dude. Him and I talk all the time. So
Yeah.
he's a good guy, really good guy, Brian Zink.
Cool.
So
cool.
yeah.
But when you're writing, do you guys write a lot of stuff separate and come together, or do you sit down and write together at all?
Depends on the album, like when we wrote our first record, we had so much time that we weren't under the pressure of like the label and everything else like that, or like time constraints and contracts or whatever else. When we were writing our first album, all we wanted to do is write the best shit we could, just be brutal and just be what we wanted. So we had all this time to do everything. We could write on our own, jam together, listen to each part, listen to it back, and just figure out what we wanted to do differently. And then we learned from that. So when we went to do the next record, it was like we took all the things that we wanted to do before and then just amplified it into the next thing. And then with the third one, it was even more cut and dry than that. It was like I would write a whole song and send it to the guys and be like, cool, Hiran write a whole song, and I'd fuck with it a little bit, and then it would be a song. Nice. So it was kind of like the whole headache of figuring it out in a room when you take 5 guys and just mash everything together was kind of removed. However, this time around, I really want to mix it together where it's like, I got the solid idea, but let's jam through it for a month first, work out all the bugs. That way when we're in the studio, it's something we all created together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's just one exexample of what I would like to do.
Yeah.
So hopefully album 4 will be a culmination of just getting really creative, but having something solid to start with. Because if you just like, hey, let's write a song, and you're just like standing there, it's like, it can get really frustrating, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I don't like the part, I'll do that again. It's like, and then when you're 3 hours into it, you're like, dude, we got to stop for a second, you know what I mean? But good thing you recorded it, you know what I mean? So you can listen back.
Yeah.
So it's a very long process doing it that way.
Yeah. Well, you got to work through stuff,
Got to.
Yeah.
When you guys first started playing guitar together, how did you mesh? Was it instant, or did it take some time? Or
well, me and Hiran started playing guitar was like 96, 97. And we didn't know what the fuck we were doing, so we just sit in the basement with their little combo amps, and just kind of like just play open notes and just kind of try to figure out the instrument. And then it slowly evolved into just him and I regularly hanging out playing together, and he would bring his combo amp to my house, or I'd bring my little combo amp to his house and my guitar song, and we lived across the street from each other. So it just turned into this thing, and like nowadays it's like when we jam together, it's kind of like there's that connection, you know what I mean? So, and I feel like him and I play real tight together.
Yeah.
So,
well, one thing that I noticed, especially last time you guys played here, is I like your stage persona. You're smiling, you're happy, and
thanks, man.
There's a lot of like scowling and stuff, and you make eye contact. I appreciate that. That's
awesome,
a pretty cool way to be.
Yeah, thanks, man. Well, I mean, have you been on stage?
Yeah, it's been quite a while.
Okay.
But,
well, that feeling you get when you're just having so much fun, you can't contain it. That's why I'm here. I'm just having a high, dude, just being on stage.
It's infectious.
It's just great. You can't help but have a good time on stage.
Yeah.
And even if, like, let's say you, like, miss a note or whatever, something's wrong, fuck it, dude, just smile it off. You know what I mean? It's all right. We're all here having a good time. I mean, you do your best to try and perform as best as you can, but you got to have a good time. You got to have fun. And I feel like that's part of our whole experience. When you come to a show, you're going to get your ears blown off, or maybe your face melt a little bit, but you're going to have fun. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of what I personally like to translate. So if you're feeling it with me, the better. You know what I mean? So that's kind of where I'm coming from.
Nice.
Yeah, I was telling him after seeing you guys live, it's like I feel like I don't know if Don wants to like eat my soul, but then I see you and it's like you want to save my soul, so I feel all right.
All right,
we'll
balance it out. Yeah.
The yin and the yang.
Yeah, and then you hear Gumby talk and you're like, this guy, wow. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of, oh man, he's brutal though. Yeah. We have fun, man. We have fun.
Yeah, you got to.
Well, I know at least Gumby is. We're talking to him. I assume you guys are all Metallica fans.
Yeah, for the most part. I think I'm a huge Metallica fan.
Okay.
I'd say Gumby's like a decent Metallica fan, but I think it took him a kind of minute to come around to it. Because being a vocalist is it's a different thing. Like guitar players, drummers, and stuff like that. Like, oh yeah, if you like metal, you're gonna love Metallica. But from a vocalist standpoint, the way that James does his vocals is very like tied to music. It doesn't really like go outside of what's happening. And for Gumby, who's like a big Cannibal Corpse guy, big Black Dahlia guy, big all that kind of stuff. Where it's very like versatile and kind of like just not exactly with what's going on. I feel like for him, he didn't really catch on to what Metallica was doing until much later. So like if you bring up a record with him, he'd be like, "What song is that again?" And you're like, "That's," and he'd be like, "Oh, that song's pretty cool. I like that. Yeah, that's cool." But if you ask Hiran, he'll like know every riff. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's just a different animal.
Yeah.
Well, just curious what you thought of Hardwired.
I think it's fucking sweet.
Yeah.
Actually, anything they put out, I'm probably gonna like because that's how I am. But when I first heard, I listened to all the songs because they put out videos for every song.
Right.
And I just listened to each one, and I was like, wow, that's really cool. And then I listened to it again. Listened to it again, and I was like, damn, dude, I gotta get this.
Yeah.
So, yeah, for sure. I definitely like it.
Yeah. Awesome.
Cool. Was there anything else like from 2016 that you've dug or have you been paying attention to?
There's honestly nothing coming to mind right now. Shit, when was the last Kill Switch album? Was pretty sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was early this year.
Honestly, I mean, like, if maybe you start naming shit, I could be like, oh, yeah, but I had nothing else is really coming to mind right now, honestly. But, yeah, shit. Wish I would have known that question in advance. I'm just joking.
All good.
Yeah. But, yeah, man, I don't know. Shit comes in spurts.
Right.
All of a sudden, there'd be like 5 new records out on this one day, and you'd be like, holy shit.
Yeah, and you're always going to forget one.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. There's so much stuff out nowadays.
Yeah. Oh, the new Meshuggah.
Yeah.
That came out this year.
Yep.
That's cool. I can't think of anything else off the top of my head, but yeah.
New Allegion.
New Allegion, yeah, that's true. Actually, I haven't listened to it all the way through.
Okay.
But yeah, what I've heard so far is fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty sick.
For Schnitzel.
Yeah.
Or you got anything else?
No, that wraps up. We
Wraps it up.
appreciate it. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you guys very
Thanks.
much. Yeah. Thank you guys for being here.
Yeah. There you go, Tony from Battlecross. Thank you so much to him for taking the time out. Thanks again to Liz from Earsplit PR for setting that up. And, thanks to Tony and again to Greg for doing this out. The club that we did this at has no backstage, has no rooms to hang out in. Like you said, you're right. Bands are right there with the fans. So we had to do this outside.
And it was cold.
Yeah, so the noise level wasn't too high. And it was that day it was freezing freaking cold.
Yeah.
It was windy. They're from Michigan and Denver, so they're used to that. But still.
That's right.
It was a pretty damn cold day, so thanks to both of them for giving us a little time out there.
And hey, I had shorts on. I was a man.
That's true.
According to Greg.
Yeah. So you've got that going for you.
I do. That's something, I guess.
Well, like I mentioned earlier, if you're a Battlecross fan, check out episode 60. Check out episode 17. That one's also on YouTube. Both of those are interviews with Kyle Gumby. Very cool to have him on here twice, and now cool to have Tony. So down the line, we should have these other guys, or of course,
great.
Tony again or Kyle again. So
yeah.
While you're checking those out, SoundCloud.com/Thunder-Underground. We've got 100 episodes before this one you can check out. We've had Richie Cavalier from Insight, who is another band that's kind of up and coming in that same thrash style that Battlecross brings. It's got a lot of intensity to them, and another great live band. We've had on guys from Death Angel, Sid Falk, formerly of Overkill, Kirk Winstein of Crowbar, Chris Broderick of Active Defiance, and of course Megadeth. We've had on CJ Pierce from Drowning Pool, Wino from The Obsessed and the Spirit Caravan. We get some 80s rock up in here with guys from Great White and Warrant and Europe, Trickster, Bullet Boys. We've had on guys from Avatar. Hey, the list goes on.
Yeah, Reed Mullen, COC.
Yeah, that one was a great one.
Yes, it was.
And we mentioned some country music earlier that Gumby liked some old country. Well, we had Waylon Jennings' son, Shooter, on here.
That's right.
Shooter's got some amazing music. If you're into metal, I think you dig that guy.
Yeah, and we had, in the more roots here tip, we had Ian Moore on.
Right.
That was a good one. So it just, it goes all over the place, people. So just pick an episode because you're going to love it.
Yeah. 101 episodes, thethunderunderground.com. You can find them on there. You can find reviews. Like I said, SoundCloud. YouTube is at The Thunder Underground. Click subscribe. We go live on there every once in a while and do reviews. We did reviews on some Metallica, a few different things on them. Reviews on the new Avenged Sevenfold album, a Black Sabbath concert that came through town. And of course, like we said, the Gumby interview, and we hope to have some of these podcasts up on there soon as well. We're also on Instagram and Twitter and Periscope. And we've got t-shirts for sale, koozies for sale. Hit us up at thethunderunderground@gmail.com if you want to buy something, or if you just want to complain or praise or whatever, or if you want to send us your music for us to play it or review it. That's the place to do it.
That's right.
All right. Well, we good?
I want to say Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, And I hope Krampus visits all of you dirty, nasty bastards before the end of the year.
That's a great... You watched that movie, right? You said that was a great movie?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the Krampus movie, not the piece of shit Christmas thing on Netflix, but
That's what I'm talking about.
yeah, no, that movie was a pile of shit. But I mean, you could literally have a little camera on my urethra for like an hour and 45 minutes. And it would be more interesting than that fucking Christmas horror story thing on Netflix.
Right.
It's a pile of shit. But the Krampus movie that came out a year or two ago is pretty fun to watch. Anyways.
Okay.
What an ending note.
Right.
So anyways, yeah. Happy holidays, fuckers.
Yeah, well, we'll see you after Christmas with the best of 2016.
That's right.
We'll have our
fucking ready.
Yeah, we'll have our top 16 albums of 2016, which if you've listened to us over the last 100 episodes, there's a good chance Anthrax and Metallica will be on there somewhere. As much as we've talked about those two things.
Maybe, we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got all kinds of great stuff from 2016. It was a great year of music, just like 2015 was, I think.
Of course.
And then we've got an episode coming up after that with the Normandies. It's a great punk band out of Tulsa. And I don't just say they're great because they're from here. They're literally great. If you like Dropkick Murphys or Street Dogs, you absolutely love these guys' new album.
Yeah, I mean, I've still got their song in my head.
Yeah.
Their songs, and I haven't listened to the album in a couple of days, and they're still in my head.
Yeah, and it was they actually have the first ever live performance on our podcast, and they recorded an acoustic performance at the end of the interview.
Yeah, it's going to be super fun.
Yeah. And we've got stuff coming up with some other guys that will give you that news once it's official.
It's solidified.
Yeah. All right. Thanks again to Tony Asta and Greg Burgess of Battlecross and Allegaeon. And until next time.
Yeah.
Let's fucking get our ears blown off.
Yeah, let's do it. We'll be there.
More beer.
Thunder Underground, y'all.